On this week's show, the Flames take a hog-hunting trip to Arkansas. We'll hear from quarterback Jonathan Bennett about Liberty's first SEC win.
Plus, a Big East title for LU field hockey, and we catch up with former Flame and Titans running backs coach Tony Dews. This is Flame Central, and it starts now.
Put them in the top 20. Another victory that will go down in the history books for Liberty. What's up? Welcome to Flame Central. I'm Matt. She's Emily, and we have a fun show ahead for you.
We sure do. The football team isn't the only program on campus that's winning some pretty big games. Liberty field hockey is back-to-back Big East champions. But we'll get to that in just a minute.
Yeah, we have to start with Liberty football traveling to Arkansas. Now, the Flames were the only ranked team in this matchup, and yet they were heavy underdogs entering SEC country. It was homecoming at Arkansas, but the Flames were doing all the celebrating in the first half. Jonathan Bennett coming off his best game as a Flame, and he did not let up in this one. 3 touchdown passes in the first half, finding Noah Frith. Then he would find Demario Douglas, who torched the Hogs for 145 receiving yards. By the way, on the Bolitnikoff watch list after that ball game. And then finally, Trayon Sibley with the TD snag, and Liberty led 21-3 at the half. Liberty's defense, though, the biggest story of this game. They recorded 14 tackles for loss, the most Arkansas had surrendered in 20 years. But in the second half, the Hogs start mounting a comeback. This touchdown grab from Trey Knox and the ensuing 2-point conversion made it 21-13. Then, with under 2 minutes to play, Knox again with a TD grab, setting up a 2-point conversion attempt that would have tied the game at 21. But that Liberty defense held up, tackling KJ Jefferson inches from the goal line. Liberty beats Arkansas 21-19, the first ever win over an SEC opponent. It gets the Flames to an 8-1 record on the year and led to this great scene in the Liberty locker room.
I want y'all to know something. I coached in the SEC for 8 years total, and came up here with some dang good football teams, and we never could get it done here, and you just did.
We have no problem putting it on our back. It be like that sometimes week to week, sometimes offense carry us, but this game we could really say that we had to put it on our back. It came down to the last couple plays. That's why I said just finish. Line up and do your job and do it well.
That win over Arkansas may well be the biggest in program history, and the Flames were rewarded, at least in the AP and coaches polls. Liberty moves up to number 19 in the country, and yet that still wasn't enough to get LU into the CFP rankings. Come on, people! Somehow Liberty left out more work to do to get the CFP committee on board, but a great season so far nonetheless.
Yeah, don't worry, Matt. The season is far from over, too. Okay, so listen, when you get back-to-back wins over Power 5 programs, especially an SEC opponent like Arkansas, the chatter gets a little louder on social media. It's time for Hearsay with EA to find out what they're saying. Okay, so the Flames, weren't ranked very high going into that BYU blowout, and guess what? Hugh Freeze took that personal. They were the underdog, so that's probably why they got that huge win in Fayetteville, right? All right, hey, Kirk Herbstreit, how about we just make this a weekly thing? Freeze makes his top-performing coaches from Week 10 again, and the Flames made his top-performing teams list again. See you next week, Kirk. All right, not sure if you saw this, but look at the bottom left there. PFF College shared that Arkansas had the #1 highest-graded offensive line in the Power 5. Well, say hello to my little friend. Meet the Liberty defense, who leads the nation in sacks and tackles for loss. ESPN's Chris Lowe, he knows all about the balance on the mountain. Guys, everyone is talking about the Flames. Terrence Metcalf gave some love to his former coach, Chris Vernon, projecting that the Flames could be in a New Year's game as best non-Power 5 if some things break. That's pretty interesting. My buddy Rich, he thinks Freeze needs to be on every Coach of the Year shortlist as of right now. I agree. And finally, Matt, I'm going to need a drum roll here. This week's winner of the best creative troll team in the country goes to the Liberty Flames.
Yes.
Matt Warner, pass me some of that Kansas City barbecue sauce.
Boy, that looks good, doesn't it? Well, a lot of people are talking about the Flames these days. But for fun, informative conversation, the Flame Central podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage, your one-stop shop. This week, we had Liberty quarterback Jonathan Bennett on the show, who talked to us about his wild journey from backup to playing to benched to leading Liberty to 2 of its biggest wins in program history. How did you kind of find a way to deal with it and come out on the other side? Now, she said the stats 5-0 as a starter.
Yeah, so Coach Freeze said a quote today, which I feel like I related to a lot. He was saying, our commitment has to be stronger than our feelings. And then once that happens, then you'll get the results that you prayed for and worked for. So, I mean, I didn't play well, haven't played well, honestly, for the latter part of the year, besides these, last 2 games I played all right. But just continuing to work, the process is the same, over and over, whether you win or lose, do bad, do good, process is the same no matter what.
If you're a Liberty fan, you need to be listening to the Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage. Emily, Joe Yock, myself, I guarantee you'll enjoy it. Listen on Apple, Spotify, all the usual places. You can also watch it for the visual learners out there on the Liberty Flames YouTube channel. Check it out. You will not regret it.
I agree. You know the guy Bennett replaced? Yeah, Malik Willis. Ever heard of him? The former Flame QB is a pretty big deal. I mean, he's starting for the Tennessee Titans on Sunday Night Football. Prime time, baby, against Matt Warner's Chiefs. Matt, putting you on the spot here.
Yeah.
Who were you cheering for Sunday night?
The Chiefs. But I hope Malik did well.
Yeah, we'll get a replacement for Matt, too. It was a close one. This game went into overtime, and unfortunately, the Titans lost in OT. But Malik had a solid second start. He went 5 for 16 for 80 yards. Some experts say that there were a few drops by his receivers that could have changed
You need some help. Help him out.
He also picked up 40 yards on the ground. Speaking of the Titans, Tennessee running backs coach Tony Dews is no stranger to the game of football or the Flames. He played tight end at Liberty from 1992 to 1995. After his playing days were over, he would hang up his cleats but pick up a whistle to begin his coaching journey. It was the relationships that he built here on the mountain that would help guide him to where he is today, coaching at the highest level in Nashville, Tennessee.
Set the tone. Set hit. Quick. Work. There you go. You gotta work.
Titans running back coach Tony Dews is no stranger to the ups and downs of coaching football.
When you win, it feels great. And then, man, I love this job. You get beat, sometimes you drive like, why do I do this? Why do I do this to myself? But football quickly teaches you humility. And the journey has been awesome.
Real. All right? I'm gonna be the defender.
Tony played multiple sports growing up, and as a young player, it was the coaches in his life who helped guide him on and off the field.
They just showed a lot of care and a lot of love. They kind of were father figures. I got into coaching because I had great high school coaches and in college coaches along the way.
Good protection. He completes it to Dews at the 25-yard line up to the 20.
We had some really, really good coaches. That was one of the things that was exciting for me, was to play on offense for all these guys that had played professionally or coached professionally. I knew that I could learn a lot of football and learn to really understand the game of football from those coaches.
Complete to Dews. He's at the 45, still on his feet and fights to the 39.
Tony played 4 seasons at Liberty, earning first-team All-American honors his senior year. But he would learn more than just the X's and O's of football. Tony learned that God has a game plan as well.
August 16th, 1992 at Thomas Road Baptist Church.
You want to be baptized. You want to get things right with God. You want to trust Christ. Come on.
It was at the end of the service. He had an altar call, and I went down in front and accepted Christ.
Come. You just need to come and get some things right with God. Come on, right
And now I know as a Christian it was the Holy Spirit that moved me. It's been a journey. I'll first say I'm a sinner saved by grace, and I had a lot of maturing to do at 18, 19 years old to get to where I am today. And I'd be lying to you if I told you that I always exhibited those Christ-like behaviors.
Jeff Hurley, number 1 on the return.
Those coaches showed their faith in Christ. It wasn't talking about it. We could see them live it daily. Coach Williams, the strength coach at the time, was unbelievable. I know I had a lot of conversations on the road in those hotels, and then he helped guide me in that way. But I'm not perfect, still not perfect, a work in progress, so to speak.
Downfield, wide open is Dews. He's got it inside the 10, touchdown.
When his playing days were over, Tony would follow in the footsteps of his mentors and educate young men about football, faith, and life.
I coached 20 seasons in college, and was an absolute blast. I enjoy the recruiting, enjoy getting to know the families, the players, and the impact that you can have on some of those guys' lives as they come in as teenagers and young adults, and you're trying to help them improve.
All right, a break over. Here we go. Going back. Pick up.
These players may be a little bit older, but Tony knows his responsibility as a Christian coach and mentor is the same.
I pray every day to live and carry myself in a way that others will see Christ in me.
Good technique.
And if they get curious, they can come ask me, and I'll have an opportunity to share my faith with them.
All right, so we'll go to the right punch, to the left punch, and then release.
As long as you put God first and everything you do, He's at the center of any decision that you make, you're going to be successful.
One cut.
Looking downfield, wide open is Dews. He's got it inside the 10. Touchdown.
Well, I think so many Flames fans knew Malik Willis was with the Titans. I think a lot of people
Right.
didn't even realize there's another Flame there with Tennessee, and what a great job he's done with them.
And we've been trying to get caught up with him
Yeah.
to share his story for a while. So glad we got that opportunity. He said when Malik first came to the facility, they had some reminiscing about the Liberty days. I think it was a little different,
It looked a little different. You see the field then compared to now, a little different. Yeah.
Imagine coaching Derrick Henry, though. I mean, in person, this guy is massive,
Yeah.
but he said it's really challenged him as a running backs coach.
Yeah, that's job security. When you have the best running back in all of
That's for
football and
sure.
you get to coach him, I think. All right, we're changing gears now. Last year, Liberty Field Hockey, we all know they had a magical season, a run that ended in the national championship game. This year, it's been a little bit more difficult, but the Lady Flames still found themselves in the Big East title game against Old Dominion with a chance to punch their ticket back to the big dance. In Liberty, they would waste no time getting on the board in this one. Daniela Rhodes, who'd been battling injuries all season, especially late in the year, she scored in the second minute of action. Hadn't even gotten the starting lineup out there yet, putting Liberty up 1-0. That score wouldn't change until the 54th minute when ODU ties it on a Sansi Molkenbauer goal. So here we go. Tied up late, season on the line, Bethany Dykema time, clutch goal off the penalty corner puts Liberty in front. They would then add one more from Martusian, and Liberty claims its second straight Big East title, advancing to the NCAA tournament once again. This season was not easy, but they found a way.
You know, it's been a challenge in trying to figure out what this group needs, and to be honest, I don't think I figured that out until Virginia this year, like right around that time, and my staff as well were just kind of knocking on a lot of different doors trying to figure out what does the 2022 group need, and so I feel like we've been able to figure that out this past month, and that's been really refreshing.
We knew it was going to be tough, you know, losing the senior class that we had last year. So we just kind of had to like everyone bring their 2% and step up, especially for the tournament. We had a lot of injuries, we lost some players, and we were just like, all right, well, we have to, you know, put our head into the ground and, you know, keep working, and ended up going in our favor. And it's just really cool to see how the adversity kind of like pushed us to succeed in the end.
So much love for the field hockey program. All right, guess what? Basketball is back. And if you've been living under a rock, Darius McGee is also back. Pretty much the best news of the decade. The Flames tipped off the season hosting Regent University. And let's just be straight up, it was a complete beatdown. McGee went 5 of 8 from behind the arc and tied for a game-high 17 points. Along with this guy, Brody Peebles. Matt, I'm really excited to see how he's grown on the court this season. Liberty takes their season opener as a nail-biter, 104-38. This is going to be a fun team to watch, but there are some pretty high expectations, so we'll see how it all shakes out. Okay, we need to take a timeout, but after the break, we recap the nail-biter that was the ASUN Women's Soccer Championship game.
Plus, we'll share the story of Rick Gage, and Rhett joins me for Warm Hot and Fuego. More Flame Central next.
As we've had Liberty students come on to our hospital campus and interview, we've just gotten great feedback from managers. As each student interviews and gets offers and they come on site and employed, again, just excellent feedback. So what we've had is now managers are requesting Liberty students to come in and interview at Duke. Something about the LU students, you see a difference. They see the character of the LU students, they see the passion of the LU students, they see the LU students come in and they are prepared. They're prepared based on their education and clinical experience that they've gotten here at Liberty University.
My impression of the Liberty students is that they're very professional. They are a quality student and they come out prepared, not only professionally with their clinical skills, but also their communication skills. I think the most important quality that we look for in a Carillion employee is a compassion for care. I find that a lot of our hiring managers say that they come in and again, that they are so acclimated to the patients, communicating with them, really showing compassion, but that's something that is really, an extra intangible that's so valuable. I think it's because of that that we continue to strengthen our partnership because we do value the students and the quality that you all bring.
If a student is looking for a school that will provide them support and not only while they're in school, but as they prepare to graduate and move on, I would definitely give Liberty high marks. Outstanding department, outstanding people. I think Liberty's educational parameters are very fundamental, especially from the nursing perspective. They are providing them a very thorough training and preparing them to step into the world confidently. I know that's important to any parent or any student that's considering coming here to go to school.
At Liberty University, making an impact for Christ doesn't wait until you graduate. Because here, we get out there and step into our community with our sleeves rolled up. So what does that look like? Every year, our students join together to serve those in need, whether close to home or far away, and share the hope of Christ. At Liberty, you'll find meaningful opportunities to make an impact with your gifts and talents, however God has called you.
Where you train is where you learn how to say, I know this. I've done this. I've got this. I'm ready. So you can surpass expectations when they say you're hired. At Liberty University, you'll train in world-class facilities as you prepare for a world-class career.
Welcome back to Flames Central. Liberty Women's Soccer won the ASUN regular season crown, but to get an NCAA tournament berth, they would need to win the conference tourney as well. Lady Flames squaring off with FGCU in the title game, and they would get on the board first. Chloe Marr had herself a spectacular postseason, and her goal in the 37th minute put the Lady Flames on top. It would remain that way until late in the match. 85th minute, and FGCU finally gets the equalizer. Margaret Berry ties it up at 1 apiece. After 2 overtimes, it was still 1-1. So this one would have to be settled with penalty kicks, and that's where FGCU would seal it. Liberty stopped on 2 attempts, and FGCU wins the ASUN crown as a great season for the Lady Flames ends in heartbreaking fashion.
Still an incredible season for the Lady Flames. Our next feature is on former Liberty running backs coach Rick Gage. For most of his life, football was the focus, whether he was playing or coaching, until he found a personal relationship with God and his passion shifted away from the gridiron. Today, Rick is on a mission to help the youth of America find the same freedom he discovered at the altar years ago.
I tried to change, but I could not change. I was told that what I needed was a new start, but what I really needed was a new heart.
Evangelist Freddie Gage was a frequent visitor to Liberty University in its early days. His son Rick would follow in his dad's footsteps, but not immediately. You see, his first love was football.
I started playing football in the 4th grade, played all the way through college. Got out of college, all I knew was football, so I went into the coaching profession. I was climbing the coaching profession ladder and striving to become a big-time football coach someday. But my heart and my life was a million miles away from God during this period in my life.
Then, while Rick was serving as an assistant coach at Texas Tech University, he heard an evangelist speak at a local church, and God used that message to get a hold of Rick's heart.
I heard this man of God preach a powerful, penetrating message on the subject of repentance, and God used that message that night to help me see that I did not have a personal relationship with God, and that even though I was a preacher's kid, even though I was religious, brought up in a Christian home, brought up in churches, I realized that night that I didn't have the real thing. And when the altar call was given, I just made a beeline to that altar, got on my knees, and I just told God that night at the altar, I said, God, here's my life. I want you to take it. and I want you to use me however you want to use me.
God answered Rick's prayer by bringing him to Liberty University in 1984 as the running backs coach. And while at LU, the importance of football would begin to diminish, and a new vision began to unfold.
I was right in the middle of this worldwide evangelistic ministry and a vision that God put in Dr. Falwell's heart to touch the world for God. And I got captured by this vision and the impact, the spiritual impact that I was seeing with my own eyes here through this worldwide ministry. And over a period of time, during those 2 years, coaching the running backs here, I lost the passion. I lost the ambition for coaching. And God had made it clear to me that He was calling me to the gospel ministry.
Over the next few years, Rick would develop the concept that would become Go Tell Ministries, an organization that uses camps and crusades as an evangelistic outreach to the youth of America.
We have over 72 million Gen Zers. That's that kid that's between like 10 years of age to 25 years of age. And out of that number, 57 million are lost right now on the way to a devil's hell. And we want to do everything we can to make a difference, to reach that demographic, to reach the youth of America. We've seen over 110,000 students and their leaders come through our camp doors since 1989. We've seen more than 40,000 young people give their hearts to Christ. And we've seen over 3,000 young people who have answered the call to ministry.
While these Go Tell camps have already reached thousands of young people with the gospel, this former coach isn't slowing down. Rick's vision for the future is clear.
God, we want you to use us in a ministry that would impact young people's lives.
The ministries of Go Tell is all about fulfilling the Great Commission. We're going to keep doing what God's called us to do. We're going to keep doing the camps. We're going to keep growing the camps. We're going to keep doing the crusades. We're going to keep doing work overseas. And we're going to keep doing all that we can to point as many people to Christ as we can while we're still here on earth.
Boy, just an awesome ministry. We appreciate Rick taking time with us and appreciate Ken Toes for producing that piece. All right, now it's time for Warm, Hot, and Fuego. Rhett McGibbon joins us as he always does. Top player moment in the past week for Liberty Athletics. A theme this week is a little different.
Yeah, we've got some descriptive words, you could say.
Language.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
You like that?
I like that better.
So let's start with warm.
Yeah.
What do you have?
Bethany Dykema, stalwart.
Stalwart.
I love that
like
word.
It. That's a good one.
Defensively, she is just the main anchor back there. She's done such good work. Clutch factor comes into play as well. You're taking on ODU. You need that big goal. Who do you go to? Your main defender. And she's been clutch. You know, she's got 8 goals on the season, 27 points, a huge goal here, the game winner to advance you on to NCAA play. And this game, really, when I was looking at it, is like the perfect template. It's what you need for them to be successful when they take on Maryland. You get a goal from Rhodes, right? You get a goal from Dykema. And then also Martusian chips in. You need those 3 players to be able to provide for you offensively. If you do that, I think you're in great shape, but it hasn't happened a ton throughout the season. So if they can replicate it, you're in good shape.
All right, from warm we go to hot.
Brody Peebles, unconventional. Yeah, you know, you actually said awkward score in the game.
That sounded not quite like I wanted it to, but you know what I'm going for?
Totally get the point here, because this is a guy that's basically, he'll go off his left foot with his right hand blindfolded, somehow still able to make the bucket. He's a guy that, and I'm sure you hate to defend against, because you're like, I did everything right, yet somehow he still managed to get off a clean shot and get the
knack.
And drop it. So the way he scored is fun to watch, but I think a huge thing in this was he only hit 1 3. So he was getting that mid-range game going, also slashing into the basket. So if you need secondary scoring to our man Darius, perfect sample size there for Brody in the sense that if he can replicate that as well, you're in great shape. You don't need to hit 3s. You got people that can do that. Jackson can do that as well as Darius. If you can get that mid-range game going for LU, watch out. They are going to be fun to watch this season.
Excited to see his growth in year 2 as a Flame.
For sure.
All right, finally in Fuego, your word, and who is it?
It's going to be the Liberty defensive unit, volatile.
Oh.
Violent, you know, everything. It should be everything
violent,
under the list.
Yeah.
Man, they were great against Arkansas. This is a team that, you mentioned it, 14 tackles for loss. He had 4 sacks, 2 from Durrell, but 14 tackles for loss. I'm sure the Arkansas faithful are in the stands going, what on earth is happening here? He also had 2 picks in the game. Rocket coming up with another one. He's currently tied for the national lead individually with 5 picks, 0.6 per game. Boy, this group, like, you watch them and you're like, each and every week, I've almost stopped second guessing myself. Early on, you saw all the takeaways that they were creating, right? The forced fumbles, the picks, and you're like, can they keep this up throughout the entire season? Sure enough, they had. You're witnessing one of the best defenses in the nation.
There's
right
no
now.
weakness.
Yeah.
There is no weakness.
So much fun to watch.
Brett, great job by you as always. Appreciate it. All right, still to come, a new update on the Flames Fantasy League. I can sense Emily smiling right now as I'm speaking. Don't go anywhere. Flame Central coming right back.
In 1776, one of the most important documents in our nation's history was penned by one of Virginia's most famous residents. Throughout the next 200 years, the importance of Central Virginia was deeply woven into the tapestry of our nation's history. Liberty University is blessed to be built upon these same historic grounds, furthering the Christian tradition of our founding fathers and training young men and women of character and of calling. At Liberty, you're welcomed into a community rich with history, and we invite you to explore our campus in Central Virginia to discover more than just the surface level. Building upon the tapestry of history, we strive for greatness, humble to be at the heart of where the country began.
Service, integrity, honor. You lead your career with these virtues. Now lead your field with the degree you want at a price you've earned. Maximize your benefits at Liberty University and pay just $250 per hour for undergraduate or $275 to $300 per hour for graduate and doctoral degrees. For over 30 years, Liberty has supported military families by offering low tuition and generous benefits, because integrity to us means honoring your service, now and always.
At the fence, leaping! Wow!
The 5 pylon, he's in.
Welcome back to Flame Central. Let's just go ahead and power our way through this segment.
My
Emily,
smile gets bigger every
ahead.
week.
Take it away.
Let me tell you guys at home, formulating a good fantasy football team is about extensive research, insider information on game plans, and belief in the players that you select.
Yeah, take a look at the scoreboard, all right? Yeah.
My team has all of
Yeah,
those.
here we go. All right, Flames Fantasy League, like fantasy football, but with Liberty players. We've been playing all year. Joe, Emily, myself.
In the 300s. It feels
And
so good.
Emily has continued to build a lead as we've gone on. So we'll see how it goes. We're running out of time. That's the dangerous part here, where there's not much left in the season. I need some plays. We need some plays. Caleb Snead, let's go. I need you to step up for me this week, all right?
The good thing is you do have the bowl game, so there is hope.
True. There is hope, a little bit. All right, hey, we're about out of time. As always, libertyflamecentral.com for any stories you may have missed. Check out the podcast as well. It was a good one this past week with Jonathan Bennett.
For Matt, I'm Emily. We'll see you next week.